NWS offices are seeking precipitation observers. The National Weather Service is seeking volunteers to observe rain and in some cases snow throughout southeast Michigan. The reports help track precipitation patterns, verify forecasts, and assess flooding potential. Here to tell us more about this opportunity, we have a meteorologist with the National Weather Service of Detroit and Pontiac, Sara Schultz, joining us right now on The Splash. Sara, good morning.
Hi.
Hi, good to see you. Happy to have you with us. Really interested about this position for people to be getting with the National Weather Service. Can you explain why volunteer precipitation observers are so important to the National Weather Service?
Yes, again, thank you for having me. And
Of course.
we really need precipitation observers. And this program that this is through is called COCORAS, which stands for the Community Collaborative Rain, Hail, and Snow Network. And they are observers from all ages and backgrounds that measure precipitation for us, not only rain and snow, but hail too. And again, it just allows people to become a part of a community-based science network. And again, that allows for us to help, with forecasts, flooding, drought. And it's not only used by us here at the office, but it's also used by farmers, city utilities, emergency management, engineers, and research too. So it's used across the country, and you can go on to cocoras.org for this. But yes, it's very important, and it helps us, with a lot of things.
Wow, sounds like it makes a really big difference for the National Weather Service. And what kind of training or equipment do volunteers receive to report this precipitation accurately?
Yes. So to join COCORAS, you'll go on the website, and right on the upper right, there's a item where you can click Join COCORAS. There you will sign up with all your information, and all it takes for training is to watch a few videos, which are a lot of fun to watch, and you are ready. One thing I do want to preference is we want to make sure that your rain gauge, because you will also have to buy a rain gauge. So it's a pretty inexpensive rain gauge. I have example of one of the rain gauges right here.
Oh, wow.
So this is our Google rain gauge. Yes. It's got spikes on it, but you can also there's two versions that you can get. So there's two, but you can go and buy a rain gauge. They're about $40 to $60. And once you get that, you can start measuring the precipitation. And again, watch the training videos. And once you get your rain gauge sighted properly, because that's very important, is we don't want people to put them under a tree or right next to a house. So we want to make sure that it is sighted well. But yeah, once you get all that set up, it's real easy, fun training, and you're good to go.
Right. I can imagine if you set something like that under a tree or by a house, there'd be a bigger influx of rain, and that might affect some of the measurements. So, of course, you want it to be as accurate as possible. And yeah. Are there specific areas in southeastern Michigan that are in a greater need for some of these volunteer observers?
Yeah, there is, especially our less populated areas, especially up in the Thumb area. We really need observers up there. Especially for rainfall and snowfall too. Snowfall, we can only see so much with the radar up there. And so if we have, we need especially those snowfall reports to help us gauge, like, okay, how much is actually coming off the lake. Lake effect snow is actually very hard to forecast. So when we get reports, that helps us a lot.
That's right. It is important to keep track of snow right now. Even though spring has officially sprung, snow is still a very big possibility. I saw some snow just yesterday. It's still possible anywhere you see it. So what has been the public response so far in terms of this call to the volunteers?
It has been very good. Right now, the month of March, we are in what we have it titled Rain Gauge Rally. And so it's kind of like a March Madness, but we just encourage people to sign up, get as many volunteers signed up as we can. So yeah, if you can go on and sign up, that would be great.
That's right. We have meteorologist Sara Schultz joining us right now from the National Weather Service of Detroit and Pontiac, talking about the call for precipitation trackers and observers for the National Weather Services. And have past observations from volunteers, has that led to a significant improvements involving weather forecasting or emergency preparedness?
Oh, yes, it definitely has, and it continues to do so. And the more observers that we can get to measure precipitation, correctly and, accurately, that actually allows, better forecasts, and it allows for a more complete and detailed picture of what's actually going on. Because we all know, living in this state, that it can be snowing at one location and raining a few miles away. So having that bigger picture is essential across the board.
I would imagine so. And I'm curious, are there any challenges that can arise with some of these volunteers in ensuring that volunteer data is consistent and reliable?
The biggest issue that we run into is just, we want to properly train. And so, another one is where the precipitation gauge is. We don't want it on a roof or anything like that. There are certain criteria that you need to be careful of. Again, put it out in an open area and know how to, what you're reading too. Another big concern too that we look at every day, we actually quality control the data that comes in from the observers, and a lot of times, just like common mistakes that are made, are just moving that decimal point over. So instead of raining 0.14 inches, they might have incorrectly put 1.4 inches, which is a huge difference. But we try to catch that at the office when that comes in.
That's right. You gotta stay alert and you gotta watch out for mistakes like that. And the Weather Service, of course, in the news, there have been some recent budget cuts to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, which does, of course, include the Weather Service. How does the Weather Service plan to maintain its level of service despite some of these budget cuts that have taken place?
We still continue with the mission here at the office, which is protection of life and property. And COCORAS, we do work with them. They're based out in Colorado, so it's not actually with the Weather Service. But again, all that information comes in and we all use it, and it's all combined. So we all work very closely together. So that will be, continuing.
That's absolutely right. All of that information and all of that teamwork makes a huge difference. Sara, last question before we let you go. What advice would you give to someone who might be watching this, who's considering to be signing up to become a precipitation observer?
Have fun with it. This isn't, we don't want you to be stressed out about it or anything, but just, have fun with it. Sign up, look at the videos, watch it, and then just be curious about, okay, what is, what's happening, what's snowfall. And it's great to always kind of learn something new. And even if you just have a little interest, in rain and snow, it's a great thing to do. And you don't have to do it every day either. And that's a big thing too. Like, you can go on vacation and then come back and do it. So that's really nice with this program.
It sounds like an incredible program. Can't wait to see what comes from it. Sara, thank you so much for joining us today here on The Splash Live.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.